All right, what's up? Good morning. Happy Sunday, Heathens. How y'all doing? I'm caught up on my cord. Anyway, happy Sunday, Heathens. How y'all doing? I am Sheena Butler, aka Sister Roots, aka your favorite root worker. You just don't know it yet. I am your leading heathen here at Sunday School for Heathens. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning and taking a good old listen with me. Do we have any church announcements? No, only church announcements I got again is the continued gratitude for the watch hours, for the likes, the shares, and the subscriptions. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for engaging in the comments section. I see y'all saying y'all taking notes and stuff. Oh, it makes me so proud. It makes me so proud, and it makes me so honored to be out here doing the work. So I appreciate you. Let's see. Again, if you ever want to send a little love offering, somebody sent $10 and said tithes. I appreciate you for bringing the tithes into the storehouse. I appreciate you, baby. May it be returned to you 1 millionfold in the form of abundance, opportunity, or any other desire that you so see fit. Ashe. But if you ever want to send a little love offering, to further the cause, further the movement, the heathen movement, okay? We working on now I do drop I always tell y'all who makes my heathen gear, and I have other people who are going to start making gear for me too. All of them black owned, so if you ever want a heathen hoodie or a heathen shirt or anything like that, I'll drop it. Just ask and I'll give you the name, and the contact points is on Facebook for now, okay? But I appreciate you again. Cash App is SISTAROOTZ. And I appreciate you. So today, today, it's gonna be a little different. The vibe gonna be a little different. We're gonna do a little story time. Okay? It's like, when you go to school and your teacher roll in the TV with the VCR at I don't know. I'm showing my age a little bit, but who cares? God damn it. It's an honor to get older. Y'all better stop trying to shame people. Come on now. I'm 41. Listen. Don't play no games. Don't none get old but clothes, baby. All right. So if you remember when you used to go to school and you had a free day, this was gonna be an easy day. You ain't got to break out the books. They roll in with the VCR, and we finna watch a movie. Okay. So today I'm gonna tell my story. I'm gonna testify about my spiritual awakening. Somebody asked me, because if you listen to some of my videos, you'll hear me speak about my time when I say I went to St. Louis. When I went to St. Louis for a funeral to laid to rest the version of myself that had operated solely in survival mode, to lay to rest the version of me that people pleased and had no boundaries and self-sabotaged and self-dishonored and self-disrespected, and I had to identify. Whoo, listen, I'm telling you now, I'm going to get a little emotional. It is what it is. Bear with me. I'm not going to edit it out because that's what life is. I've been up since 7. Y'all, I'm so goddamn grateful. Baby, I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to be sitting here. Because there's a lot of motherfuckers that didn't make it out. Come on, okay? Heavily medicated, heavily sedated, heavily indoctrinated. Because when life get rough, that's the choices that they give us. They give us pills. They give us potions. They give us all of these things to try and numb down. To numb down that noise. But at the end of the day, Baby, you gotta dance. You hear me? You hear me? That's what this is about. That's what this is about. That's what the learning about. That is what the lessons are about. It's about learning how to dance with life. So when life through when the universe when the DJ throw the real music on, when the music change, can you learn how to dance with this motherfucker? Because that's what it comes down to. Acclimation, adjustment, grounding, presence, being like water. And that is not easy to do. Sober, okay? We're talking about raw dogging life. You hear me? We are, and listen, shout out to the people who was, and I done been there. I done been there. Shout out to the people who raw dog. Listen, with none, you ain't got no prescriptions. You ain't got no indulgences. Okay? You ain't got nothing to take the edge off. Them the real soldiers. You hear me? And listen, what I will say is when you get there, when you get to the point where you don't need anything to help you get through life, it's a beautiful place to be. It is a beautiful place to be. It comes to a point where you don't need no medicine. You don't need no scripture. You don't need when you learn how to go within, when you learn how to find your center and keep your center, and when you find yourself being sent off center, the ability to redirect yourself, ain't nobody got to do it for you, baby. That's power. That's sovereignty. And that is what this journey is all about. Okay, so listen. if I had to be honest about where this started, I will say that in my opinion, and some people might differ with me, and this one might be a little long, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna try to keep it all around an hour. I'm gonna give you the majority of the meat, some potatoes, we'll go from there. But what I will say is, in my opinion, the spiritual awakening, the awakening process, the remembering of consciousness, the ascending in consciousness is not something that hits you at one time. Boom. It's not something that catches you off guard. That's the one thing that I've really realized, and that's the one thing that I can laugh about the most now. Because while it feels like you're dying in the moment, while it feels like ain't nobody told me nothing, your ass was actually being hard headed. Your higher self, the highest version of you, the version that is the bigger picture, the version that is the the facilitator of the experience, your soul, the seat of your soul, that version of you, from the moment you start you begin to awaken in consciousness as a human being, that version of you leaves you breadcrumbs. You start following breadcrumbs. As a child, you're much closer to it, and the breadcrumbs are easier to see because there's not as much domestication. Shout out to the 4 agreements, okay? When you realize that as soon as you get here, they start dumping shit on you. Dumping. Here's your identity. Here's your religion. Here's your gender. Here's your IQ. Here's your personality type. Here's your love language. It like all of this shit. Here's your gender role. Here's they give you everything. From the moment you old enough to stand up and balance on your own 2 motherfucking feet, folks start trying to tell you what to do. Don't touch that. Get over here. No, boys don't play with that. Girls don't get dirty like that. Take care of your knees. Don't mess yourself up. Every now and then, if you got a good contract, you incarnate with some participants that make this journey a little easy for you. But for those of us who are hard-headed, who like a little adrenaline, a little anxiety, shaking things up a bit. You end up in experiences that I swear to God, y'all. I told my daughter the other night, I said, listen to me, the older you get, the more you're going to believe in contracts, in soul contracts. The older you get, the more you get to know yourself, you will look at your life and say, couldn't nobody. And I know that's hard to take, especially when you come, when you have a hard experience as a child, you know. Um, there's trigger warnings up in here, okay? We might talk about a little essay, a little DV, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a sensitive video. Okay, so prepare yourself, stop yourself, ground yourself, grab your crystals, get your tea, get your weeds, your spirits, your wines. Take it easy, because this one, don't hit the hard shit. Get your little glass of wine, okay? Get your little barefoot. But anyway, I would have to say that this awakening thing, you start getting those breadcrumbs. You start seeing, the older you get, you start paying attention to things in your life that feel, for some reason, they feel familiar. Like you ever met somebody like, damn, it feel like I know you. Pay attention. You do. Okay? when you experience people and you was like, I know I just met you, but I swear I feel like I have known you forever. You have. That is the first indicator. Ding, ding, ding. Heads up. This person is here to teach you something. This person is a part of this contract. What do you need to see? What do you need to learn? In what instances is this person showing up? What's the current situation at hand? If you're constantly having the same type of interaction, but with different people, what's the lesson? Why is it always this thing? Okay? Those are the nudges from your higher self. Those are the, hey, and sometimes, depending on how close you are to yourself, to your center, depending on how keen your intuition is, and intuition is your first language. That gut feeling, that is your line of divine communication. That is your tongues. You should never ignore your language. That is it is a language that only you, it is written, it was written for you, by you, to guide you. Never learn the language of self. Learn the language of soul. That is the voice of God, because that is your divine connection to the divine consciousness, the divine intelligence that enables this experience to be what it is. Okay? So, listen. Depending on how keen you are, depending on how willing you are to trust yourself, because some people in this world, and listen, I admire the people who trust self no matter what, and have always done so. Not many people can say that. Not many people can say, I have always gone with my gut no matter what. Matter of fact, I don't think I know. And if you are one of those people, please raise your hand and share. Give us a little story. Get in the comment section, okay? But depending on how willing you are to listen to self, depends on how, what's the word I want to use? Because I don't ever want it to seem as if anyone is exempt from life, showing you how real it could get, how real shit could get. You know what I'm saying? Whoo, baby, listen, life. I like to think about life as like as a sexy woman, okay? And listen, because what they always say, life is a bitch. All right, so you and over if you love hip hop and rap and all of that, you the more creative that a lyricist can get with describing life, the more you like them, right? So I remember what is it on Nipsey Hussle's Double Up? Shout out to the Nip. Okay. Um, when it said life is a bitch, but she mine. And when I heard that, that stuck with me. So I'm gonna dress this bitch how I want her to dress. You know what I'm saying? But listen, she yours. But that heifer, she get contentious sometimes. Okay, sometimes she like to shake shit up, and sometimes she have to remind you. And listen, don't play with it. You don't want to hear me? You don't want to learn this lesson? Well, maybe I need to show. Sometimes life will show you a little titty. That's all I'm saying. Listen, don't make. I will act ass up in here when she started taking the robe off to show her bare ass. Baby, don't let life get naked on you. When she take the robe off, shit finna get real. Do you hear me? Don't let it just let it. Don't let it be no more than a little shoulder, okay? And let her give it right back. She give you a little shoulder to get it right back. Shout out to the granddad on the Cosby Show. Anyway, so life is constantly. It's crazy because you do kind of have to look at this shit like a video game. Like you really do have to look at this shit like a video game. Like it's when we say it's levels to this shit. It people always use that in the sense of it's a high. No, think Sonic. Nigga, think Call of Duty. When we say it's levels to this shit, that's what we talking about. It ain't necessarily ascension, it's navigation. All right? Man, you gotta learn. Oh, but anyway, so the breadcrumbs, the nudges, depending on how keen you are, depending on how willing you are to listen to your intuition and to trust yourself and to follow those nudges, depends on how turbulent this journey gonna be for you, right? That's what, man. If my only advice, anytime somebody asks me for advice on this goddamn journey, the only thing I can say is please trust yourself. Please listen to yourself. It's so important because if you don't listen to yourself, if you don't listen to those little nudges, then that's when you line yourself up for that foot to ass. Okay? That's when your mama been calling your name for the last 30 minutes. Not even 30. Baby, that 30 felt dangerous when I said that. Any black mama calling your name for 30 minutes, it's finna be some furniture moving. Back in the day. Thank goodness we came away and we learned how to gentle parent and not beat the shit out of these kids and all that. Because it was... Shout out to the deprogramming. Shout out to the ones who are breaking the generational patterns, okay? But anyway, it's that, hey, listen, you need to do this. It's time to do this. And you like, okay. But then you don't do nothing. You know you supposed to, but then you don't do it. You don't move. It's the, hey, listen, I don't think we need to be in a relationship right now. And you like, I hear you, but it's been a minute, and I'm a little lonely, I want the matching pajamas, and it's like, yeah, I hear you, I know that's what you want, but not right now, not right now. You ain't did what you need to do to be in the pajamas. You finna get in the pajamas. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. It's saying my disk space is too low. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. All right, perfect example. Because for 3 days I've been saying I need to clear some storage before Sunday, and I didn't listen, and I got interrupted. See, it's that simple. I'm telling you, it is that simple. When you get the thought to do, that's the language. Listen to it, okay? But anyway, what I was saying is you line yourself up for that swift foot to ass, okay? So what I will say about my awakening, about my spiritual journey, my spiritual awakening, my dark night of the soul, my tower moment. If you into the tarot, the tower card represents, it's one of the most feared cards in the deck, but because it represents total chaos, total transformation, the falling apart, the falling away. And the crazy part about it is the tarot card for the year 2026. When I did the energetic overview for the year in the community, that's why y'all need to be in the community so y'all know what's going on. We do monthly energetic overviews, like you get additional insights. But anyway, the Tower card is the card for the year of 2026. You can expect fall apart. You can expect breakaway. This is the year of radical transformation. Things are going to fall apart to come together on a macro level and on a micro level. Okay. So my tower moment was not it in hindsight, now that I'm out of it, okay? It was not, it didn't come without warning. I wasn't blindsided like I thought I was. And see, that's the thing. That's the thing about hindsight being 2020, because you're like, damn it, if I would have known. But you would never have known. We always say hindsight is 2020, but hindsight is also non-existence without the experience. Without the experience, there is no hindsight. So you can't feel bad about anything that happened, because you wouldn't have the awareness that you have right now. You have to have the experience in order to gain the awareness, right? But again, I cannot say that my awakening did not come without nudge, without warning. Okay? There were several times in my life where I can pinpoint the exact moment when I knew I should have listened to myself and made another decision. And I did not. And because I did not make the decision to self honor, to put self first, because here's the thing. Let me go ahead and get this out the way right now. For those of you who are, in it right now, or if you're still trying to make sense of it, if you're just not coming out of it, the answer the whole time is to choose self. That's what it's always going to come down to. That is I'm telling you right now. I am telling you that the cheat code to life is to choose self every time. To choose the decisions that are going to honor you first every time. That's the answer. I'm not saying it's going to be the decision that puts you first every time. I'm saying it's going to be the decision that honors you first. And when I say honor you, I mean it's going to be the decision that you can live with. Right, wrong, or right, and then you also understand that there is no such thing as right or wrong. This journey is here to teach you that good and bad are relative, that right and wrong are relative. You see what I'm saying? But love is the great equalizer. You never made a right or a wrong decision. I said that at the end of the last Sunday School for Heathens. You just made decisions. And you learn some shit every time. Hopefully. But some of us, man, listen. Some of us were hard-headed. You knew you should have chosen. My God, listen. Think back. Just think back. And you ain't got to think back for some of y'all, it was just last night or even this morning. There was a decision that you had to make that came down to your honor and respect and comfort and somebody else's. And you did not choose yourself. And inside, you are screaming. Outside, you're composed and you're very humble about it. But inside, you are raging because you don't feel appreciated, you don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, and most of all, you don't feel authentic. That is why you are screaming, because you are lying to yourself. You are placating the world. And when I say world, I mean your world and the people in it, the experiences in it. Because you got to remember, there's 8 billion people in this world living 8 billion different lives and experiences. That's why you can't take none of this shit personally. Shout out to the 4 agreements. Okay? Shit, I lost my train of thought. But listen, the goal is to always choose self. So if you make the decision that causes you to lie to yourself but to appease everyone else, strap into your ass, babes. You're finna learn a hard lesson. That's what it all comes down to. Lessons. There are easy ones and there are difficult ones. There are productive lessons and there are frivolous. I was confusing trivial and frivolous. They are frivolous lessons. Some lessons you learn that you ain't even got to learn. God damn it! I used to tell my children all the time, my daughters, I'm out here taking steps so that you don't have to. I'm out here walking the path, taking steps so that you don't have to. Some steps don't have to be taken when you've seen other people take them. Now, if you just a motherfucker that want to take steps for the hell of it, then I don't know what to tell you. And that's what it comes down to. And let me say this, even that is an arrogant standpoint, because you can't tell them what steps they should take. Because in their soul, if they feel like they gonna do it different than you did, if they feel like they got a little more insight than you, a little perspective, even with the perspective you giving them, they think, oh, okay, because you told them this, they can navigate it better than you instead of just avoiding it altogether. Listen, it is the arrogance of the human condition. It is the arrogance of ego. It is what it is. And it's nothing to be offended by. And it's nothing that someone should be shamed for, because we all have it. It's part of the human condition. It's part of the reason why we're here. And we're here to shed it. We're here to shed the parts of it that doesn't serve us. There is an arrogance associated with being an intelligent being. However, arrogance should never be used as a weapon. Arrogance should never be weaponized. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain level of arrogance that is required for this existence. There's a certain amount of confidence. There's a certain amount of respect. There's a certain amount of dignity. There's a certain amount of pride that is required. You have to be proud to be who you are. And ain't that crazy that they make you feel bad for that? You can take pride in your country. You could take pride in your church. You could take pride in your career. You could take pride in your house. You could take pride in your children. You could take pride in your accomplishments. But to take pride in self, in just who you are as a being, is shunned. Don't get too cocky now. You know, don't forget where you came from. What's that about? It's about the other side of the ego, the inferiority complex that we all have. But it's not it's not inerrant. It's not inherent. We weren't born with that. Somebody gave you that. Feeling like you're less than. Feeling like you don't deserve, feeling like you're unworthy. And in some cases, it wasn't always the church. The church just reinforced it. Somebody else gave you that long before you stepped in them church doors. All right. So what I will say is my experience started It was really jump started in 2020. 2016, no. 2016 kicked off. 2016 was the last nudge that I got from the universe before I got the Swiftfoot tags. I had gotten pregnant by a 6-year long situationship who had a vasectomy. You've heard me talk about that. If you want a story time on it, just let me know. If you want a little more details on it, just let me know. But long story short, I got pregnant by a dude with a vasectomy. He was the only dude that I had ever slept with other than my first ex-husband, my children's daddy. So listen, that thing had me wrapped up, tied up, tangled up. Okay? So anyway, I got pregnant by him. He disappeared. The gist of it. I ended up having a miscarriage. And in that emergency room, the night that I found out that there was no heartbeat, there was a doctor. That was a tall black man. And I ain't gonna call that man out. There was a tall black man. Because I'm telling you, when I saw him again, that man didn't have no fucking clue who I was. That's how I know, like, supernatural things be happening, like spirit guides and messengers and shit. Like, that's real. Like, a spirit will inhabit, an energy will inhabit a person. If a person is open and willing, it will inhabit a person and deliver a message to you real quick. So anyway, I was in the emergency room, and I was miscarrying. I had started spotting. And I'm crying. And the only reason why I'm crying is because if I miscarried, this nigga gonna really think I was lying. He was already. Oh my God, it was such a terrible situation. Anyway, and that was all about ripping the illusion of control from me. Because remember, the awakening is always to show you just how little control you actually have. How little control you actually have, and how much control you should have. It is when I say this thing is beautifully tragic, it is beautifully tragic. Okay? Like when I say the awakening is anyway, so I'm in there miscarrying, and there's this tall black man. He comes in, he lets me know, he's the doctor. He lets me know that there's no heartbeat. And then he asked me what pregnancy this was, because babe, I'm in there toe up. Okay, I'm trying to hold it together, but I got a million thoughts running through my fucking head. Okay, and let alone the last of it is I'm finna have to go through the physical process of miscarrying. And if you've ever had a miscarriage before, you know how intense it can be to have another one. Okay, so, but anyway, that man told me, he said, that man asked me how many times I had been pregnant. He said, what pregnancy is this for you? I said 6. He said, how many children do you have? I said 4. And he said, how invested were you in this pregnancy? And I said, he asked me, was I excited about it? And I was like, no, not really, but I'm always handle my business with my silly ass. We don't penalize. We listen and we don't judge. Okay. So that man said, I don't know why I'm getting ready to say this to you. He said, and I might be out of line. And bam, at that moment, if somebody ever comes up to you with that, and I ain't talking about no God told me to tell you. When you encounter a spirit guide on this journey, they never come with arrogance. You hear me? They never come with assertiveness. So those people who God told me to tell you and I got a word from you, bitch, shut up. God ain't told you shit that he ain't told me. Okay? So it's a difference when a real messenger comes to you, somebody that you done picked, okay, in the contract, they in one of the terms and conditions, they have a role, they're showing up. When somebody comes to you and say, I don't know why I need to say this to you, but it won't let me go, And I swear I'm not trying to be offensive. When they lead like that, you better open your goddamn ears. Do you hear me? Do not take that lightly. Because the feeling that you're going to get immediately afterwards, and if you've been in this situation, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I know I'm not crazy. The best thing about having an awakening is the confirmation that you are not crazy. Because if you have ever been a person that was keen, that was spiritually inclined, spiritually in tune, and you ever had to dumb yourself down, you know for a long time, your whole life, you probably thought, man, I can't see, I can't tell nobody this shit. But you're not crazy. So when somebody comes to you and says that, make sure you perk up, because that is a part of the contract. Okay? So that man said, I don't know why I'm getting ready to say this to you. He said, and please forgive me if I'm being offensive. He said, but you are getting ready to enter into a time where you are going to have to trust. No, he said, you're going to have to prove that you really believe in what you say you believe in. Baby, when I think back now, when I look back over my life, listen, nigga, if that wasn't the heads up for your ass, that man said, you gonna have to prove if you really believe that God, if you really believe in what you say you believe in. He said, you really gonna have to prove how much you trust in God. Man, that was 2016. Long story short, I went home, I miscarried a couple of days later. And then I went into a severely dark place. A severely dark place, but I wasn't able to stay there long because, hey, I'm an eldest daughter and the family manager. So I got up and I pushed through, and I remember at that moment, like I know at that moment, and at that moment I made a decision. Like I didn't know what was getting ready to happen. I did not know what was getting ready to happen, baby. I like, but I was like, I knew some shit was finna be different. And I had no words for it. And I didn't even really acknowledge it. It's like I knew something was different, but I don't have time to think about that shit right now. You see what I'm saying? Like I still had 4 kids that had like, you gotta have a miscarriage and keep going. Ain't that fucked up? So I pushed through that, and I numbed myself enough to keep going. And I remember I had the I had the miscarriage at the beginning of March, baby. And my birthday is in March, right? So that was my 32nd birthday. I had the miscarriage, and I did this post. And I told what was going on, because up until that point, I had never been that fully, like, people knew about my my history of domestic violence. They knew my struggle, about me as a single mother. I've always been pretty transparent about what I was going through. I just never, like, the transparency just increased over the years, um over the experiences. And so I did a post on Facebook, and I told I told my story about me getting pregnant and having a miscarriage. Now, mind you, I'm lead intercessory prayer person. I'm getting up in the pulpit doing corporate prayer. I'm in the choir. I'm fucking with the youth ministry. I do the church announcements. Like, I'm Sheena. I'm teaching Sunday school. We had what you call what, the interactive Bible study, where we engage, we talk, we answering questions, we chopping it up, and baby, and it was out here fucking fornicating. So of course, this is tea. It's tea with healing, right? So, but at that time, you got all the church folks, and they just like, oh, and shit like that. But I remember, I remember about that day, as terrible as I felt. Oh, as terrible as I felt, because that shit was so heavy for me, and it wasn't just the miscarriage; it was the whole situation surrounding it, right? So I remember the messages I got that day, the inboxes that I got. And one woman said to me, she said, I just want to thank you because she had a stillborn baby girl. And she was pretty advanced in her pregnancy or whatever. And she said, I hadn't been able to let it go. She said, I was angry. She said, I was angry at God. I was angry at everybody. I was angry at my husband for being able to move on. She was like, I was angry. I've been in this bed. That's all I do. I just hug this bed. She said, and this morning, when I read your message, she said, when I read your post, she said, you gave me the strength to put my baby girl to rest. She said, you gave me the strength to let this bed go. And there's somebody who knows baby, y'all gonna get this shit raw and uncut. As somebody who knows what it's like to struggle to let that bed go. That's why I said that bed ain't your friend, baby. That bed ain't your friend. And I'm not gonna rush this shit because I'm trying to be cognizant of the time. But if you're gonna be real, you're gonna be real. But as somebody who struggled to let that bed go, baby, that shit meant so much to me. They say purpose is not what you feel when you do something. They say purpose is what other people feel when you do something. And I knew in that moment that all of that dumb shit that that I had done had a purpose. Okay? Listen, as long as the dumb shit got a purpose, we fight. We live to fight another day. Yeah, man? Listen, I don't give a damn how stupid you feel you done been out here. As long as the dumb shit it meant something. As long as it taught you something. As long as it helped you. As long as it helped somebody else when you told them about what you did, baby. You live to fight another motherfucking day. Okay? So I remember all of the messages that I got, and that gave me enough inner resilience. That gave me enough strength to move forward. And I did. And I went back to work. Because I tried to push through. I tried to go back to work immediately. I was still bleeding when I went back to work. That is insane. When you think about how much we don't take care of ourselves in the name of having to push through. Baby, I'm at work bleeding, still, cramping and contracting and all of that. Even though I had already passed, like I went back to work that night. I had passed it that morning, went back to work that night. Like I'm working in the ICU or whatever. And I tried to I worked that night and then I worked the next night. But the next night I couldn't even get through the shift because I was in so much pain and I was bleeding so hard. And mentally I was in hell. Do you hear me? When I tell you hell is a mindset, hell is a motherfucking mindset. Don't you let nobody convince you it's a fiery burning pit somewhere. Hell is right here. And if hell is right here, then so is heaven. You make the decision on what energy you're going to live in, okay? But mentally, I was in hell, and I was charge nurse that night. And I remember we was, in surgical ICU, baby. They trying to pull nurses and shit. And I just told the supervisor, I was like, listen, I said, I got to go. And I was cool with all of my supervisors. All of the nursing supervisors, they all liked me. They did. Some of them, we had an understanding. Okay, but we was respectful. They fuck with me because I fuck with y'all. I'm gonna do my job. Don't tell me nothing about the bullshit. I'm gonna do my job. Okay, so I said I gotta go, and it was like Butler, because I worked at the VA, and it was like Butler, it was like we can't afford to lose you, and I that's when I just broke down. I said I literally just had a miscarriage. I'm still bleeding. That woman said, "Get out of there. Get out of there." And so I went home, and I think I took off work for like a week. I think I had enough PTO for a week. Baby, it wasn't no PTO sitting with me. Yeah, man. If it's in there, I'm going to use it. If it's enough to cover a shift, I ain't going to be in that motherfucker, okay? I learned that. Nurses take your PTO. So I took some time off. Took like a week off. Enough to regroup, strengthen myself enough to get back to it. I come back to work. And that's crazy. Listen, a week, a month. Was it a month? Was it a month? I think it was a month. No, it was. It was a year. A year before all of this shit happened. Because all of this happened for my 31st. I mean, no, 2 years. 2 years. Right before my 30th birthday. Baby, I met this man. And he worked at the hospital. I met this man very passively. Like I had to. He worked in admin, and I was charge nurse. Had to go down to the admin office. Listen, and I meet these two men who working down there. Right, we down there talking, shooting the shit while I'm waiting on them to get. I think I had to send a fax or some shit. Like old school, we couldn't do the e-fax upstairs. But anyway, I meet these men, right, and we talking. I see one of them search my name because he had Facebook pulled up at the time. I see one of them search my name. By the time I get back upstairs, I got a friend request from this nigga. I click on the friend request. I go on his page. He one of them red pill niggas, essentially. This was red pill before red pill was red pill. Okay? So I get on there. He complaining about everything. Baby, that was the fastest friend and unfriend I had ever done. I didn't see him no more after that. Okay? A year later, no, 2 years later, when I returned to work after this miscarriage, almost to the day, I'm in a patient room. I think I was giving meds. And I see this nigga peek his head through the door, like he looking around. And he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "What's going on?" Or whatever. So he looked at me like he wanted to say something, but then he stopped. It was almost like he wanted to say something, then he changed his mind, and he turned around and he left. Let me blow my nose. Okay, my bad. So he looked like he wanted to say something, then he changed his mind. And so he left. So I was like, that was odd. I finished what I was doing in the patient's room, and I went and walked out to the nurse's desk. And I called down to the admin office because I was charge nurse that day. So, like I said, he worked in admin. If he came upstairs, I'm thinking his ass something to go on with something going on the floor. So when I called down, I called to his extension and he answered. And I was like, "Hey," I was like, my bad. I said, "I'm in charge. Did you need something?" And he was like, "Actually, he was like, I was looking for you because I wanted to talk to you." He was like, "I wanted to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, what's up? Like, what you want to talk to me for?" And he was like, "How you been?" And this is. I said, "Oh, oh, baby, let's stop this shit right here, right now." Okay, I said, "Listen, bro." I swear to God, it was just like that. I said, "Listen, bro." I said, "I'm just coming out of some shit. Bro." I said, "Listen, whatever it is, I appreciate you, but." And I think, and that was that on that. That was that on that. I stood on business in that moment. In that moment, I listened to me. I listened to the language of self. And then that motherfucker sprung back 6 months later. 6 months later, I had marked I had, you know how an event be going on Facebook and you'll click that you interested. I didn't, so apparently when you do that, that shit'll show up in the news feed. It'll say, well, Sheena Butler is interested in this event. So I had clicked that on this poetry event because I love open mics and shit and poetry, spoken word, slam events, all of that. So I had clicked on it and he inboxed me because I hadn't talked to him since. He inboxed me and he was like, I got 2 tickets. He was like, I just got 2 tickets for the event that you was interested in. He sent me the event. He was like, I just got 2 tickets for it. He was like, what time you want me to pick you up? Baby, when I tell you, I was laying on my couch, baby, living in South Haven, Mississippi, in my little apartment. Me and my baby's hands. Baby, it got me. It did. It got me. What I'm gonna say? That it would have made you giggle or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Especially, baby, listen, I ain't talking to nobody since coming off of that dumb shit either. I'm like, oh, somebody being nice, showing the love. So when he said that, I sent, lucky for you, I'm off that day. He sent back, lucky for you, I'm single. And then that nigga proceeded to, oh my God. And if you see this, because I know you still following me. If you see this, you a raggedy motherfucker, but I love you. I really do. I love your raggedy ass, boy. If you watching this because you know who you are, I love your raggedy ass. Thank you. Because that man was the man who he sparked my cognitive dissonance. And that cognitive dissonance, what he did to me is what I do for a lot of people. Now, he is the one who flipped the switch. He turned the light on. Do you hear me? He is the one who came through with the white glove because you thought your shit was neat and clean. He came through with the inspection glove. When it came to my identification with religion, see, that's how mine started. Mine started with the conflict of religion, but it was heightened by my daughter getting pregnant. Okay, but that man, he was conscious. He was the first he was not the first conscious brother that I had met, because I remember the first conscious brother I met, I immediately dismissed him. But this was the first conscious brother that I had met because he was an intellectual. He was able to break down what he was trying to say. You know, some people, they just talk at you and they don't know how to break through and talk to you. That's why people like my content. That's why you find, because I have the ability to break stuff down, to bring it to where you can see it, to make it to take it from the abstract and bring it down to where you can conceptualize it. You know what I'm saying? So he was the first man who did that, and he was the first person who had ever done that for me. And he was like, but I was fighting. Baby, that cognitive dissonance ain't no joke. When you don't want to believe something, what the things that we will do, the lies that we will tell ourselves to go against, to avoid facing our, man, listen, to hold on to what we have constructed, the ego, the mask. Listen, that's why I tell y'all, don't be arguing with them Christians and shit in my comment section when you hear them say something on social media and all that, baby. Listen, excuse me, they fighting for their death. They fighting for their lives. Them men, I ain't finna argue with y'all. When somebody flips the switch on and shows you that everything that you have been taught was a lie, and you can't deny it because it makes that much sense, it's going to be met with one of three responses: anger, fear, or acceptance. Very rarely is it met with acceptance. That's what the 5% is about. Okay? So, the way that I had to, and I told him, I said, listen, I said, I can't talk to you. And it was the most, like, when I tell you, that was the most conflicting but fun experience I had ever had, because I was like, God damn it, this feels so wrong, but it sounds so right. I know I'm not sure. He is confirming everything that I have felt for years. And he's giving me information. Like, he can back this shit up. He can show me the text, the articles. He can show me, he like literally. Which, and me being an intellectual, being an intelligent being, being a critical thinker, I cannot ignore logic and facts. Okay, not when it's concrete. See, it's cool being a Christian and the only thing you reading is that Bible. That's why most Christians are so cool with being the way that they are. They so cool with being narrow minded. They cool with staying right there. That's why I told you most Christians ain't gonna read outside of that book. They not gonna read outside of their book. They might do a little concordances, they might do some commentaries, but they not coming outside of them parameters. They got strict parameters. But when you start reading ancient text, reading other theology, man, it's no denying it. And I remember I told him, I said, I can't talk to you. I said, because I feel like when I'm talking to you, I'm cheating on God. At that point in time, I was standard Christian. My God was a man, a judge who needed to be petitioned, pleased, and bargained with, and bartered with. Okay? Fully paying that tithes, padding the pastor's pockets, nigga. And I was making nurse money. I was making good money. Still, and this is the thing. I was making good money, but couldn't even feel it because I was so, because I'm giving the money that I was always short on bills, what I'm penny pinching for, it was all in what I was giving up to the church. You're not struggling financially because you're not righteous. You're struggling financially because you being pimped. They taking your shit. That they skim off the top, that be what you need for the bottom. But then, they dress it up and they say, listen, you give God the 10% is a down payment on the 90. You give God that 10, he'll guarantee you that 90 stretch all the way. Sound like a used car salesman. Okay. So meeting him was my last, it was my last soft nudge. It was my last soft nudge. And I parted ways with him completely in 2017 after he took my ass down through there. Real bad. Real bad. Because listen to me, just because someone can enlighten you does not mean that they won't exploit you. So yeah, I love your little raggedy ass if you watching, but you down bad. We're not going to talk about that. But I forgave you. Don't worry about it, because everything has its purpose, right? I wish you the best. Anyway, so at the end of that cycle, I found myself like in a spot where I knew I needed to do a grand reset, a hard reset on me. I knew that. I just didn't know what that looked like. So I think I started exercising again, because that's what we always do. We start exercising. Cause see, that was 2018. I switched jobs. That's what I did. That's how I pivoted. I knew I needed to pivot, and that's what I did. I switched jobs. I started teaching. 2018. I went to teach in one of them predatory ass schools. You know what I'm saying? Where they in them trade schools where the loans be bigger than the goddamn program. But anyway, I ended up teaching there. And that job is what set the foundation for everything that I'm doing now, which is amazing. But during that time, I was still working nurse hours because I got into that job and I started overextending. I started people pleasing. I started proving I wanted to be the best. Like the program that I was in, that I was teaching in, it was a pilot program, so the expectations were high, and the outcomes needed to look a certain way, and baby, I threw myself into it because I needed to accomplish something. I needed to accomplish something. And that's why we go to school. That's why we listen. That's why we got degrees for days, Black women. It's not that you needed to accomplish something, it's that you needed to create. You needed to create something for you. But for me, creation always just looked like accomplishment, as it does for majority of Black women. So that's what I did. And I perfected it. And the program, and I ended up being promoted to program chair after getting snaked by another mother who I thought I looked at as a trusted friend, as a mentor. And so what I realized is that he was just there to show me what I could be, to put the fire back under me, because at that time I had deviated all the way from the plan that I had reconstructed. I was I was supposed to be back in school and all that. I had given up on all of that between because my grandma died between 2016 and 2017, and grandma was, but we'll get to that. But this is gonna have to be two parts. But I get to the job, I get promoted to program chair, and it caused me to spend a lot of time away from home. But my kids are bigger now, you know what I'm saying? But I thought I had shit handled. And then that youngest daughter, man, Alpha started cutting up. Alpha started cutting up. Now, by now, we're up to 2019. And she's in a lot of and don't get me wrong, she had been cutting up. That girl had been cutting up since elementary school, literally since second grade. But she's such a bubbly person, and she's beautiful, and she's got a light. She knows how to work her magic. She just don't work her magic for good. She like the bullshit. My daughter love the bullshit. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I always saw you are the perfect combination of me and your dad. And I don't mean that in a good way. You have to learn how to harness your power for good. But she's learning what she needs to learn. She gonna learn some hard lessons. But anyway, so fast forward. Here it is. I'm teaching. I've now started dating my second ex-husband. I'm dating him. Life is good. My oldest daughter is in, I think she's like a junior. She's like a sophomore or a junior in high school. The boys are a little older. They playing football. Only my youngest son was playing football by then. You know what I'm saying? Life is starting to smooth out. The turbulence of me being a single mother, I bought my house by now. Life is starting to smooth out. I'm developing a social life. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually going out on dates. And it was so much that transpired between 2016 and 2020, you know what I'm saying? But because I had to I'm coming off of the shit that the dude from 2016 did. You know what I'm saying? 2016, 2017. So I'm coming off that. But I remember after coming off him, I sat in my garage and I said, I promise myself I will never let another man get this reaction out of me. Because I had gotten so low, because I was grieving so hard over the loss of my grandmother, because it was the miscarriage, then my grandmother died, and then that nigga did what he did, and bam. And so here I was low again because I never stopped and processed from the miscarriage. I just gave myself enough to what I needed to just keep going through and incurring trauma after trauma. I had to run point when my grandmother was dying. It took us 16 days from start to finish. And I was the one who had to run point. I talked to every doctor. I was included in the rounds. I was keeping up on her labs. Like, I'm doing everything. And mind you, this is my grandmother. And my mother's a nurse, critical care nurse like me. But I was pushed into that position. And it took me a minute to realize, it took me a couple of years to realize how unfair that was to me. And I want to speak to the people who hold burdens that are not theirs under the guise of the pressure that's been put on you by your family. A lot of y'all handle shit that you have no business handling because the people who should be handling it are too much of a goddamn coward to handle business. And then if something happens that they don't like, it gives them the right to turn around and blame you and resent you, when in truth, they were the actual cowards. So I never gave myself that time to process. But now I'm thinking, okay, life is good. Life is smoothing out. But listen, as I'm chain smoking Black and Miles, I'm eating. I done gained all of this weight. My blood pressure up. My cycles are terrible. I have chronic migraines. My sleep pattern is terrible. My bowel habits are terrible. I am dying. But in my head, there's no external chaos. So it's okay. Everybody else is taken care of. Everybody else looks neat. Everything looks neat. It's okay. Listen, the bills are paid. I ain't in church no more because I left my home church after my grandma died because all of the drama that was surrounding her. And now I'm thinking I'm in a good spot. I'm all right. It's cool. It's all good. It's everything's fine. I'm managing it. Yay. Line. Baby, the way I had started to develop sleep apnea, I knew it. I knew what was happening. I was snoring. My back was starting to kill me. My knees were hurting. I was short of breath from smoking them goddamn blacks. Baby, I couldn't brush my teeth without feeling winded. It was terrible, but everything else looked okay. I got this nigga over here in my face acting like I'm the best thing since sliced bread. He acting like the sun don't rise till my ass get up. I'm making good money. Things are handled. Life is good. Children have social lives. They're doing what they want. Life is good. And then that feeling started coming back. That voice, and I ain't going to say it started coming back because it's always there. You know it. You know it. You know it. No matter what you do. No matter how many degrees you get. No matter how many houses you buy, how many cars you buy, how many purses you buy, how many dresses you buy, how many certifications you get, no matter what. Everything, baby, it'll look good. That shit will be so pretty and nice and tucked away, and you'll be in this nice little relationship, and then you're gonna lay down one night on them good Egyptian cotton 1,000+ thread count sheets. And you got your shit, your bonnet is on tight, and you got on some nice quality pajamas. You done spent a little money on them, and you done laid your ass on that expensive mattress. My old mattress was $2,400, baby. The mattress alone, cause I'm asleep. I'm gonna have a good mattress. I vowed myself to that when I was as an adult. I will always have a good mattress. You lay your ass on that mattress, put your head on that goose feather pillow, close your eyes, and as you take that deep exhale and think you finna launch off into dream sleep, you hear that voice say, "You ready to talk?" So, how come we're still depressed? How come we got? How come we still anxious? They don't know, but we know. How come? How come this shit still don't feel right? And then that sleeping pill kicks in, and you blast yourself into oblivion, only to get up and lie to yourself another day. So, what happens when that voice is done whispering at night? You get that swift foot to ass. And that's what I got. It's an hour and 11 minutes. I'm going to do part 2 next Sunday. I love y'all. Happy Sunday, Heathens.